Think about the time you spend linking different pieces of software together, digging up contact info, and scraping websites for leads. It takes a massive amount of manual effort to keep a digital business running. And if you try to automate those workflows today, you usually have to write rigid technical instructions. You map out exactly how data moves from point A to point B. But the moment a website updates or a third-party app changes its layout, the entire system crashes. An AI company builder approaches this completely differently. Instead of writing code or configuring complex logic branches, you outline what you want in plain English. The challenge is taking a loose conversational idea, like "find me new clients," and translating it into a precise, scheduled digital operation that actually works. Solving this translation problem allows you to stop acting as a manual task doer. You step into the role of a systems architect, directing an autonomous workflow. To see how this translation happens, let's look at the orchestration panel inside Twin. You can give it a specific goal, like find hotels with pools on booking.com, cold call their managers, and book appointments on my calendar. This kicks off what's known as build mode. The AI acts as your architect, actively researching the idea and carrying on a back-and-forth dialogue with you. It asks questions to ensure the logic is sound and refines your initial prompt into a concrete plan. Because it uses heavy cognitive reasoning, this planning phase requires the most computational power. Once set, the system maps out the execution. If your apps have existing APIs, it generates those integrations right then and there. You don't have to search through documentation or write a single script. The connections are built dynamically on the fly. In a matter of minutes, build mode functions like a dedicated engineering team, taking your raw idea and structuring it into a working pipeline. But the internet is not perfectly structured. You will inevitably run into a website or a database that doesn't offer an API for you to pull data from. The system uses a virtual browser, allowing the AI agent to log in, scroll, and click on elements exactly the way a human would. So for our hotel booking task, if there's no API available to sort search results, the agent simply opens the browser, navigates the site, and manually checks the swimming pool filter. This capability bypasses strict back-end restrictions entirely. If a task can be performed on a web browser, the agent can execute it. It removes the barrier between rigid code and the messy, unstructured nature of the web, giving your digital worker full agency to navigate online spaces. There is still one major threat to any automation pipeline: unexpected updates. Websites frequently redesign their pages or move their buttons, which instantly crashes traditional scripts. For example, if the hotel booking platform changes its layout overnight, the agent's usual path to extract data is suddenly blocked. This triggers a self-annealing loop. Instead of failing and waiting for a developer, the AI pauses, assesses the mistake, and actively searches for an alternative route. It learns the new layout, patches its logic, and resumes the task without human intervention. This capacity to self-correct takes a fragile sequence of actions and turns it into a resilient, autonomous employee capable of managing its own obstacles. Once the workflow is built, tested, and deployed, it transitions out of the heavy setup phase and moves into run mode. Run mode relies on a lightweight execution model. It drops the deep cognitive reasoning needed for planning and focuses entirely on completing the established steps, which drastically cuts down on the cost per action. You can schedule these optimized agents to operate perpetually in the background. They continue sourcing leads, placing automated calls, and booking meetings while you sleep. And you aren't limited to building everything from scratch. There is a community marketplace where users publish their successful tools, allowing you to discover and clone highly specialized agents built for real estate, e-commerce, or recruiting. Mastering this conversational interface provides tremendous leverage. It means a single person can design, deploy, and scale an entire digital workforce simply by knowing what to ask for.
Every growing business eventually hits the exact same wall. You want to scale, but your days get entirely swallowed by time-intensive, repetitive operational tasks. For a long time, solving this operational drag meant picking your poison. You either had to hire an army of people, or learn how to code from scratch, or try wrestling with brittle drag-and-drop automation software. The problem with traditional automation tools is that they rely on rigid rules. The second a target website updates its interface, the entire workflow breaks. So the true barrier to scaling isn't a lack of human effort. It's the inability to seamlessly parallel process complex cognitive tasks without constant manual oversight. Twin functions as an AI company builder, generating entire multi-step workflows directly from conversational prompts. When you ask it to execute a task, it creates API integrations on the fly. And if an API doesn't exist for the service you need, it deploys a virtual browser to navigate websites and extract data exactly like a human would. It starts in build mode. This is the initial phase, where the AI reasons with you, researching and mapping out the logic of the requested automation to ensure it makes sense. By moving the logic mapping and research into the AI's reasoning phase, users can architect autonomous digital workforces simply by describing their high-level business goals. Let's look at a practical scenario. Imagine a local pool cleaning service that wants to scale its sales department by acquiring commercial hotel clients. The user simply types their instructions into the interface. Find hotels with pools on Booking.com, cold call via Vapi, and book jobs in your calendar. Normally, you'd hit a technical obstacle right away. Major hotel booking sites do not offer direct APIs to filter search results for swimming pools. This diagram illustrates how Twin bypasses that obstacle. It utilizes its virtual browser to manually scroll the site and click the specific amenity filters to extract the correct data. It cross-references those managers on LinkedIn, logs high-value prospects into a CRM, and triggers an AI voice call. The result is a sequence that transforms a raw web search into qualified, real-world appointments appearing autonomously on a calendar. You can spin up a customer support department just as easily. A new input instructs the agent to monitor an inbox and answer incoming queries based entirely on the company's website data. In a routine interaction, a customer emails asking about project timelines. The agent reads the email, scrapes the process web page for the answer, and sends an instant auto-reply. During an edge case, like a complex insurance claim requiring nuance beyond the website's data, the query routes to a needs human node. This triggers a human-in-the-loop escalation. The AI pings Slack with a draft response, waiting for manual approval before sending. And while that support agent is running, a marketing agent transcribes videos, extracts key insights, and formats SEO blog posts. Concurrently, an operations agent is scraping real estate platforms and compiling daily market average digests. A single user is now orchestrating customer support, content marketing, and market research departments in parallel without managing a single employee. Once an automation workflow is finalized, it moves out of the heavy reasoning phase of build mode. It transitions into run mode, a lightweight, cost-effective operational state designed purely for endless background execution on scheduled loops. But that leaves one final vulnerability for a digital workforce. What happens when a third-party target website changes its UI layout? This animation demonstrates Twin's self-annealing loop. When the agent detects its own failure, it actively learns from the layout change and encapsulates an alternative path to the data. The system fixes itself without human intervention, ensuring business operations never go offline. For entrepreneurs, productivity is no longer measured by manual execution speed or team size. The only remaining barrier to building a fully staffed, multi-department enterprise is a person's ability to clearly articulate their goals. The reality of running a service business right now means losing hours manually copy-pasting lead data from one spreadsheet to another. It involves waiting for a sales call to end just to pull the transcript, extract the notes, and write a proposal. Or it means endlessly scraping booking directories to find a single qualified prospect. The traditional agency solution is to throw more people at the problem. You hire an assistant, you bill for their time, and you sell human hours. But humans are expensive, they get tired, and eventually there are no more hours left in the day to sell. This creates a hard ceiling. When your output is directly tied to human time, your revenue is permanently capped, and your profit margins are constantly shrinking under the weight of payroll. You can solve this by disconnecting your output from the limits of human time. Instead of hiring people and selling their hours, you can deploy autonomous digital employees. Modern AI agents autonomously navigate the internet, extract complex datasets, and initiate communications. They perform the exact sequence of clicks a human worker would. You don't need to be a developer to build them. Platforms like Twin allow you to architect an entire digital workforce by simply describing what you want done in plain English. These agents utilize a dual-path capability. The first connects directly to existing software via an API for instant data flow.
If no API exists, it takes the second path, spinning up a virtual browser to visually read, click, and type exactly like a human user. This technology provides the foundation for a business model that bridges the gap between local labor shortages and the execution of high-end automation. Let's look at how this works in practice. Take a local pool cleaning business that wants to secure large commercial hotel contracts, but they are struggling to find the time to actually locate and pitch them. The first step is to isolate a single, time-consuming bottleneck. Here, it is the manual process of lead generation and outbound sales. You start by giving the agent a single instruction. Search major booking platforms specifically for hotels that feature swimming pools. The agent takes over the workflow. It extracts the hotel data, scores the viability of each lead based on its ratings, and then drafts a personalized outreach message for the managers. Once deployed, the system can initiate automated cold calls through voice integrations, instantly logging any secured appointments directly into the business owner's shared calendar. High-stakes decisions still benefit from human oversight. This approval dashboard allows the business owner to review the drafted emails and lead scores, making the machine the researcher and the human the editor. This system shifts the human role from manual laborer to strategic editor, approving the heavy lifting done by the machine. For the agency building these systems, the monetization strategy changes. You move away from hourly billing in favor of a high-ticket pricing format. Tracking compute costs against revenue, you first charge an upfront setup fee for build mode, the compute-intensive integration phase. Then the system switches into run mode with a monthly retainer. The heavy thinking is done, so compute costs drop to pennies, securing high-margin recurring revenue. This economic structure decouples your agency's income from human time. You are now operating a service business with software-level profit margins. This allows you to transition your automation agency from a custom service provider into a scalable business that functions like a software company. You achieve this through zero marginal cost duplication. The perfect agent architecture you built for that first client becomes your core product. Once the architecture is finalized, the technical work is largely complete. To serve the next 50 gyms, you simply update the local business data and connect their accounts. This allows you to scale your revenue without the traditional burden of hiring and training a corresponding human workforce. Eventually, your operations consolidate into a single command center. You monitor a dashboard as multiple client systems autonomously process leads and execute workflows simultaneously. This duplication model turns one successful build into a reusable asset. You put the effort into the logic once, and it produces high-margin revenue for every new client you onboard. Here is an actionable 7-day sprint to launch this business model. Days 1 through 3, select a specific local niche, identify a manual bottleneck that wastes their time, and construct one fully working digital employee to solve it. Days 4 through 6, record a simple screen share demonstration of your agent successfully performing the task, and present that video directly to local businesses within your niche. Day 7, secure your first client, collect the upfront setup fee, deploy the workflow into their business, and prepare your system for immediate duplication. The limit on your income is no longer the number of hours you work. Wealth flows to those who design and manage these autonomous systems, letting the machines handle the volume while you handle the growth.
If you're finding these tutorials valuable and you're serious about integrating AI and automation into your business to save time and build scalable systems, I invite you to